so much to do. The house of questions still stood, and someone had to take the reins. Who else will do it? Superior Goyle? A flatbow bolt through the heart prevents him, alas. Someone had to look to the internment and questioning of the many hundreds of Gurkish prisoners, more captured every day as the army drove the invaders back to Keln. And who else will do it? Practical Vitari? Left the Union forever with her children in tow. Someone had to examine the treason of Lord Brock, to dig him up and root out his accomplices, to make arrests and obtain confessions. And who else is there now? Archlector Salt? Oh, dear me, no. Glokta wheezed up to his door, his few teeth bared at the endless pains in his legs. A fortunate decision, at least, to move to the eastern side of the Agriont. One should be grateful for the small things in life, like a place to rest one's crippled husk. My old lodgings are no doubt languishing under 1,000 tons of rubble, just like the rest of... His door was not quite shut. He gave it the gentlest of pushes, and it creaked open, soft lamplight spilling out into the corridor, a glowing stripe over the dusty floorboards, over the foot of Glokta's cane, and the muddy toe of one boot. I left no door unlocked, and certainly no lamps burning. His tongue slithered nervously over his empty gums. A visitor, then, an uninvited one. Do I go in and welcome them to my rooms? His eyes slid sideways into the shadows of the corridor. Or do I make a run for it? He was almost smiling as he shuffled over the threshold, cane first, then the right foot, then the left, dragging painfully behind him. Glokta's guest sat by the window in the light of a single lamp. Brightness splashed across the hard planes of his face. Cold darkness gathered in the deep hollows. The squares board was set before him, just as Glokta left it, the pieces casting long shadows across the checkered wood. "Why, Superior Glokta, I have been waiting for you." "And I for you." Glokta limped over to the table, his cane scraping against the bare boards. As reluctantly as a man limping to the gallows. Ah, well, no one tricks the hangman forever. Perhaps we'll have some answers, at least, before the end. I always dreamed of dying well-informed. Slowly, ever so slowly, he lowered himself, grunting, into the free chair. "Do I have the pleasure of addressing Master Valiant or Master Bulk?" Bayaz smiled. "Both, of course." Glokta wrapped his tongue round one of his few remaining teeth and dragged it away with a faint sucking sound. "And to what do I owe the overpowering honour?" "I said, did I not, that day we visited the Maker's house, that we should have a talk at some point? A talk about what I want, and about what you want. That point has come. Oh, joyous day." The first of the Magi watched him, the same look in his bright eyes that a man might have while watching an interesting beetle. "I must admit you fascinate me, Superior. Your life would seem to be entirely unbearable, and yet you fight so very, very hard to stay alive. With every weapon and stratagem, you simply refuse to die." "I am ready to die." Glokta returned his gaze, like for like. "But I refuse to lose." "Whatever the cost, eh? We are two of a kind, you and I, and we are a rare kind indeed. We understand what must be done, and we do not flinch from doing it, regardless of sentiment. You remember Lord Chancellor Ficht, of course?" "If I cast my mind a long way back." "The Golden Chancellor? They say he ran the Clothed Council for 40 years. They say he ran the Union." Salt said so. Salt said his death left a hole into which he and Morovia were both keen to step. That is where this ugly dance began for me, with a visit from the Arch-Lector, with the confession of my old friend Salem Ruse, with the arrest of Sept Dan Teufel, master of the mince. Bayaz let one thick fingertip trail across the pieces on the squares board, as though considering his next move. We had an agreement, Ficht and I. I made him powerful. He served me utterly. Ficht, the foundation on which the nation rested, served you? I expected delusions of grandeur, but this will take some beating. You would have me suppose that you controlled the Union all that time? Bayaz snorted. Ever since I forced the damn thing together in the time of Herod the Great, so-called. It has sometimes been necessary for me to take a hand myself, as in this most recent crisis. But mostly I have stood at a distance behind the curtain, as it were. A little stuffy back there, one imagines. An uncomfortable necessity. The lamplight gleamed on the Magus's white grin. People like to watch the pretty puppets, Superior. Even a glimpse of the puppeteer can be most upsetting for them. Why, they might even suddenly notice the strings around their own wrists. Salt caught a glimpse of something behind the curtain, and only look at the trouble he caused for everyone. Bayaz flicked one of the pieces over, and it clattered onto its side, rocked gently back and forth. Let us suppose you are indeed the great architect, and you have given us— Glokta waved his hand towards the window. Acres of charming devastation. All this. Why such generosity? Not entirely selfless, I must confess. Khalul had the Gurkish to fight for him. I needed soldiers of my own. Even the greatest of generals needs little men to hold the line. He absently nudged one of the smallest pieces forward. Even the greatest of warriors needs his armor. Glokta stuck out his bottom lip. But then Ficht died, and you were left naked. Naked as a babe, at my age. Bayaz gave a long sigh. And in poor weather, too, with Khalul making ready for war. I should have arranged a suitable successor more quickly, but my thoughts were elsewhere, deep in my books. The older you get, the more swiftly the years pass. It's easy to forget how quickly people die. And how easily. The death of the Golden Chancellor left a vacuum, muttered Glokta, thinking it through. Salt and Morovia saw a chance to take power for themselves and advance their own notions of what the nation should be. Exceptionally cockeyed notions, as it happens. Salt wanted to return to an imaginary past where everyone kept their place and always did as they were told. And Morovia, Morovia wanted to piss power away to the people. Votes, elections, the voice of the common man. He aired some such notion. I hope you aired the suitable level of contempt. Power for the people, sneered Bayaz. They don't want it. They don't understand it. What the hell would they do with it if they had it? The people are like children. They are children. They need someone to tell them what to do. Someone like you, I suppose. Who better suited? Morovia thought to use me in his petty schemes, and all the while I made good use of him. While he tussled with Salt over scraps, the game was already won, a move I had prepared some time before. Glokta slowly nodded. Jethal Dan Glokta. Our little bastard. Your friend and mine. But a bastard is no use unless Crown Prince Reynald stood in the way. The magus flicked a piece over, and it rolled slowly from the board and rattled to the table. We talk of great events. There is sure to be some wastage. You made it seem that he was killed by an eater. Oh, he was. Bayaz watched smugly from the shadows. Not all who break the second law serve Khalul. My apprentice, Yoru Sulphur, has long been partial to a bite or two, and he snapped his 2 rows of smooth and even teeth together. I see. This is war, Superior. In war, one must make use of every weapon. Restraint is folly. Worse, restraint is cowardice. But only look who I am lecturing. You need no lessons in ruthlessness. No. They cut them into me in the Emperor's prisons, and I have been practicing them ever since. Bayaz nudged one of the pieces gently forward. A useful man, Sulphur, a man who long ago accepted the demands of necessity and mastered the discipline of taking forms. He was the guard, weeping outside Prince Reynald's door, the guard who vanished into thin air the next day. A shred of cloth taken from the Emmethrith bedchamber, murmured Glokta. Blood daubed on his robe. And so an innocent man went to the gallows, and the war between Gurkul and the Union blossomed. 2 obstacles swept neatly away with one sharp flick of the broom. Peace with the Gurkish did not suit my purposes. It was sloppy of Sulphur to leave such blatant clues, but then he never expected you to care about the truth when there was a convenient explanation to hand. Glokta nodded slowly as the shape of things unfolded in his mind. He heard of my investigations from Theverard, and I received a charming visit from your walking corpse, Mouthith, telling me to halt or die. Exactly so. On other occasions, Yoru took another face and called himself the Tanner, and incited a few peasants to some rather unbecoming behavior. Bayaz examined his fingernails. All in a good cause, though, Superior. To lend glamour to your latest puppet, to make him a favourite with the people, to make him familiar to the nobles, to the clothed council. You were the source of the rumours. Heroic acts in the ruined West? Jethal Dan Glokta? Bayaz snorted. He did little more than whine about the rain. Amazing, the rubbish idiots will believe if you shout it loudly enough. And you rigged the contest, too. You noticed that? Bayaz's smile grew wider. I am impressed, Superior. I am most impressed. You have fumbled so very close to the truth this whole time, and yet so very far away. I wouldn't feel badly about it. I have many advantages. Sult groped towards the answers in the end, but far too late. I suspected from the first what his plans might be. Which is why you asked me to investigate. The fact that you did not oblige me until the very last moment was the source of some annoyance. Asking nicely might have helped. It would have been refreshing, at least. I regret that I found myself in a difficult position, a case of too many masters. No longer, though, eh? I was almost disappointed when I found out how limited Salt's studies were. Salt and candles and incantations, how pathetically adolescent. Enough to put a timely end to that would-be Democrat Morovia, perhaps, but nothing to pose the slightest threat to me. Glokta frowned down at the squares board. Salt and Morovia. For all their cleverness, for all their power, their ugly little struggle was an irrelevance. They were small pieces in this game, so small they never even guessed how vast the board truly was. Which makes me what? A speck of dust between the squares at best. What of the mysterious visitor to your chambers the day I first met you? A visitor to my chambers, too, perhaps. A woman, and cold. Angry lines cut across Bayaz's forehead. A mistake made in my youth. You will speak no more of it. Oh, as you command. And the great prophet Khalul? The war will continue, on different battlefields with different soldiers. But this will be the last battle fought with the weapons of the past. The magic leaks from the world. The lessons of the old time fade into the darkness of history. A new age dawns. The Magus made a careless movement with one hand, and something flickered into the air, clattered to the center of the board, and spun round and round until it lay flat with the unmistakable sound of falling money. A golden 50-mark piece, glinting warm and welcoming in the lamplight. Glokta almost laughed. Ah, even now, even here, it always comes down to this. Everything has a price. It was money that bought victory in King Guslav's half-baked Gurkish war, said Bayaz. It was money that united the open council behind their bastard king. It was money that brought Duke Orso rushing to the defense of his daughter and tipped the balance in our favor. All my money. It was money that enabled me to hold Dgothka as long as I did. And you know whose. Who would have thought? More first of the moneylenders than first of the Magi. Open council and closed, commoners and kings, merchants and torturers, all caught up in a golden web. A web of debts and lies and secrets, each strand plucked in its proper place, played like a harp by a master. And what of poor Superior Glokta, fumbling buffoon? Is there a place for his sour note in this sweet music, or is the loan of my life about to be called in? I suppose I should congratulate you on a hand well played, muttered Glokta bitterly. Bah! Bayaz dismissed it with a wave. Forcing a clutch of primitives together under that cretin Harrod and making them act like civilized men. Keeping the Union in one piece through the Civil War and bringing that fool Arnold to the throne. Guiding that coward Casimir to the conquest of Angland. Those were hands well played. This was nothing. I hold all the cards, and always will do. I tire of this. And blah, blah, fucking blah. The stench of self-satisfaction is becoming quite suffocating. If you mean to kill me, blast me to a cinder now and let's be done. But for pity's sake, subject me to no more of your boasting. They sat still for a long moment, gazing at each other in silence across the darkened table. Long enough for Glokta's leg to start trembling, for his eye to start blinking, for his toothless mouth to turn dry as the desert. Sweet anticipation. Will it be now? Will it be now? Will it be— Kill you? Asked Bayaz mildly. And rob myself of your winning sense of humor? Not now. Then why reveal your game to me? Because I will soon be leaving Adua. The Magus leaned forwards, his hard face sliding into the light. Because It is necessary that you understand where the power lies and always will lie. It is necessary that you, unlike Salt, unlike Morovia, have a proper perspective. It is necessary if you are to serve me. To serve you? I would sooner spend 2 years in the stinking darkness. I would sooner have my leg chopped to mincemeat. I would sooner have my teeth pulled from my head. But since I have done all those things already... You will take the task that Fichte once had, the task that a score of great men bore before him. You will be my representative here in the Union. You will manage the closed council, the open council, and our mutual friend the king. You will ensure him heirs. You will maintain stability. In short, you will watch the board while I am gone. But the rest of the closed council will never. Those that survive have been spoken to. They all will bow to your authority, under mine, of course. How will I will be in touch, frequently, through my people at the bank, through my apprentice, Sulphur, through other means. You will know them. I don't suppose I have any choice in the matter. Not unless you can repay the 1,000,000 marks I lent you, plus interest. Glokta patted at the front of his shirt. Damn it, I left my purse at work. Then I fear you have no choice. But why would you refuse me? I offer you the chance to help me forge a new age, to bury my hands to the elbow in your dirty work, to be a great man, the very greatest of men, to bestride the closed council like a crippled colossus, to leave your likeness set in stone on the Kingsway, where its hideousness can make the children cry, once they clear away the rubble and the corpses, of course. To shape the course of a nation. Under your direction. Naturally. Nothing is free, you know that. Again the Magus flicked his hand, and something clattered, spinning across the squares board. It came to rest in front of Glokta, gold glinting. The Arch-Lector's ring. So many times I bent to kiss this very jewel. Who could have dreamed that I might one day wear it? He picked it up, turned it thoughtfully round and round. And so I finally shake off a dark master, only to find my leash in the fist of another, darker and more powerful by far. But what choice do I have? What choices do any of us truly have? He slid the ring onto his finger. The great stone shone in the lamplight, full of purple sparks. From a dead man to the greatest in the realm, and all in one evening. It fits, murmured Glokta. Of course, Your Eminence. I always knew it would.